I triple dog dare you to listen to this episode. We're talking A Christmas Story. Hit it. It was 1983. Hurricane Alicia hit the Texas coast. Super Mario Bros. Video game was released as a Nintendo arcade game in Japan. Fraggle Rock debuted on HBO, and Ralphie wanted his Red Ryder air rifle. I'm your host, Jerry D, with another episode of Totally Rad Christmas, the podcast that talks all things Christmas in the 80s. Toys, movies, specials, music fads. If it was gnarly during Christmas in the 80s, we got it covered. Now joining me are two very special guests. The creative director and general manager of Decorator's Warehouse, Kristin and Josh Black. Guys, what's up?
Hey,
Hi,
Jerry.
How are y'all doing today?
Doing good.
Right on.
Doing great.
Oh, that's always good to hear. Anything special going on tonight?
I just set up a Christmas tree, which is ironic considering it's June.
Yeah. One of two. This is just the first one.
Oh, man, you guys really start early.
Yeah.
Well, no, we're setting them up for a photography project that we have coming.
Oh, nice. Right on.
Yeah.
I totally would have a Christmas tree up like all year round if I could. But I've definitely, the wife put the foot down and not until holiday season. So
that's no fun.
Well, now you get your fix at work, though.
I totally do. Yeah, I definitely get my fix at work. But it's not bad. I like putting lights and things. So, it works out. Especially trying the different combos,
Yeah.
Yeah, those were pretty awesome.
Oh, thank you. I do what I can.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, when I asked you guys to be on the show, I gave you a couple of topics, that you could pick from, and you actually really wanted to talk about A Christmas Story. Why is that? What's your history with The Christmas Story?
Well, it was very special for me in particular because it was probably like one of the only VHS movies that we owned.
Oh, okay.
And so it was my dad's absolute favorite, and we probably watched it, I don't know, a dozen times a season every year for years and years. And so it definitely has a special place in my heart.
Well, that's cool. What about you, Josh?
Yeah, no, I didn't have as strong of a connection to it. Like, I don't think my family watched it a lot growing up, but it is very nostalgic to me. Like, that's one of the movies that really stand out when I think about Christmas movies with, associated with my childhood.
That's cool. So for me, oddly enough, because I've seen just about everything from the 80s, this is one that actually wasn't a huge part of our Christmas canon every year. And I think the reason is because my mom didn't really like it. And so, if mom doesn't like it, then it's kind of automatically vetoed. Yeah.
That's a true story.
Yeah.
So, and the funny thing there is I can't say that I loved the movie growing up in my childhood, but, being on the outside of it and being an adult and looking back, like, I just loved watching it again because it feels so nostalgic. Yeah. And I had a better appreciation for it.
I tell you what, though, since being a dad, I really connect with this movie now. I don't know if that's good or bad.
Are you the old man, Jerry?
I'm the old man now, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It was fun to watch it, because I hadn't seen it probably for 10 or 15 years, to pick up on a lot of things that I didn't pick up on before. Like, the dad didn't have a name. Like, he was just the old man.
The old man, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I never noticed that when I was little.
Yeah, I didn't either. And it's funny because, my daughter, like, she keeps, randomly she'll say, "Dad, what's your name?" It's like they know us as dad, right?
Yeah, it's true.
And when I think about it, it's like, yeah, growing up, he was dad. He wasn't, Ramiro Davila or whatever. I mean, it was dad. So seeing that kind of from a kid's point of view, that it really makes me as a dad. It really makes me appreciate a little bit more.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
for sure.
So there was a lot you were talking about. Hadn't seen it in years. Same here. And there was a lot that I completely forgot about this movie.
Uh-huh.
Like I mean, I didn't remember there was a parade in it, like, at all. That completely was wiped from my memory. The things that really stand out are like the bunny suit, the leg lamp, and
Yes.
the getting your tongue stuck to the pole. Really, that's like the big
and
three.
You'll shoot your eye out.
And then you'll shoot your eye out. Yeah.
The Ovaltine, that was one that like popped back out to me.
Yeah.
The oval. Oh yeah. The little orphan Annie.
Yeah.
The Decorator.
I've got to confess, Jerry. Every other time I saw that movie growing up, I thought it was set in the 80s.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it wasn't until we were just watching it, Chris was like, hey, this was set in the 1939, 1940 time period. And I was like, oh, when I was little, because it looked older, I just thought that was what it was like in the 80s. It's kind of silly now as an adult thinking that.
Oh no, there was a lot more neon and crazy hair.
True.
Yeah, that's true.
They should make that in an 80s version. That would be pretty good.
That'd be pretty dope. I could do that.
Yeah.
I like that.
I call playing the old man.
Yeah.
Cast Jerry.
So I guess we can get into it now, but before we really do, so this is based off of Gene Shepard. He was like an old radio humorist kind of guy, and he would just tell these stories. And eventually, Shel Silverstein, the poet, convinced him to actually write them down. And so he created this book. It's called, In God We Trust, All Others Pay Cash. And it was just these kind of semi-autobiographical, quasi about him kind of thing. And it was just the stories. It was a novel, it did have a through line, but essentially it was just a bunch of stories. And so they took like 4 or 5 of them and they made this movie. Their budget was like $3 million and it ended up grossing like over 20 million. So, it was pretty successful when you think about it. But, these stories, they're kind of funny because, we all have these stories. And I guess if we really want to talk about the movie itself, it's really just, the heart of it is really just this little boy, Ralphie, just wants this BB gun. And that's like the only thing he wants for Christmas,
Yeah.
And so the whole story is really just his through line of how to get to it,
Yeah.
And then the one thing I also noticed is that it feels really vignette-y. Like there's a lot of little sequences that
Yeah. Like where he's imagining things. And then they the character, the teacher turns into a witch or something.
Yeah.
While he's looking at her.
Which I'd forgotten about that part too. That was
same.
That was crazy. But yeah, it's like just these little set pieces that kind of interfere with like the whole overarching plot, Did you ever get a BB gun, Josh?
I did.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's cool.
Yeah, I did. I don't think it was till I was in middle school.
Oh, okay.
So I wasn't 9.
You were not. Yeah.
No,
So you didn't shoot your eye out.
No.
No.
I did. My dad did teach me, don't shoot things that are metal because it can ricochet.
Especially after the movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had forgotten that's how he actually got hurt. I remembered the lie that, the icicle hits him. And for some reason, that's what stuck out of my head. And I mean, I guess he really did a good job with that lie, but I'm getting, sorry, go ahead.
Thought from growing up when I'd seen it, I always thought he got caught.
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't remember that he actually got away with it.
He got away. He did. He got away with it.
Yeah.
Lucky.
Yeah. I never got away with stuff. I was never smooth enough.
I didn't either, Jerry. Me neither.
No, I wasn't smooth enough for that. But and I never got a BB gun either. But
I didn't either.
Yeah.
We have a ranch down in South Texas that every once in a while we'd go out to. And I remember this one time my dad took me and we were just checking on the windmill and checking on the levels of things. And I remember we brought a 22 with us just in case. And I thought it was so cool. And I was just looking down the barrel and then, just aiming it. And my dad was filming. He had a video, one of those big old, video camera
stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And, you have to carry it on your shoulder. So he caught me. I was aiming it right at him. And I was just aiming. I
no.
wasn't like trying to do anything. I was just, like looking down the barrel, and he was like, "Jerry!" so of course he like quickly ducked and got out of the way, and I heard all about it later. But it kind of reminded me of like something I probably would have done if I actually had a BB gun.
Yeah. See, I remember with my BB gun, we were out. My godfather had some land out in Possum Kingdom that had a
Nice.
stock tank on it.
Okay.
And we were out there, and we were messing around with the BB gun, and he was on the opposite side of the stock tank from me and my brothers, and we were shooting at frogs.
Okay.
Like all little boys will.
Yeah.
And one jumped in the water, and I shot the water, which is not a good idea because that can make a shell.
That's also
it hit my godfather in the back on the other
Oh
side
no.
Yeah, so that lost me my BB gun privileges for that trip.
But not indefinitely.
Not indefinitely, no.
No, you can't take away indefinitely. That's just cruel.
Yeah.
It would be.
So Ralphie is in this fictional town of Homan, which is kind of based off of Gene Shepard's real town of Hammond. And right away it's all about his BB gun, and he goes through like the various phases of how he's going to approach it, telling his mom and asking for it. And I remember when I wanted like something that I knew was going to be really expensive, trying to like formulate in my head like how everything was going to turn out. Okay, so if I mention this, then this will happen. Like it's like pieces of a puzzle, like playing chess. And so that part really resonated with me because I remember doing that as a kid.
Yes.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, my dad, and my dad, so kind of a businessman type, but he would make me write like a sales pitch and pitch it to him. So like I wanted a puppy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I actually like created a presentation of like the reasons why, our family should have a puppy.
Did
and
it
then,
work?
we did get
nice.
the puppy, but in high school, I wanted to study abroad in Czech Republic. And I made like this huge presentation with statistics on safety and
a whole PowerPoint slideshow.
But I did not get to study abroad. So
that's probably
that was
smart.
Unfortunate.
Yeah. You win some, you lose some.
Yeah. Puppy, okay. That's we'll count that as a win.
Yep. My old man said no.
Yeah. So, what I find interesting is that we're talking about all these through lines, and these little vignettes, but one of them is the bully. Did you ever have a bully that picked on you?
I didn't.
Not anything that stands out. Not like that, at least.
I always remember, like, anytime I see like stuff like that in movies or like a main bully, all the schools that I went to growing up were so big. There was no just like one big bad bully guy.
Yeah.
I think that, I think that's part of the function of just there's so many students. There's nobody that's going to be, the bad guy. There's probably a bunch of little minions, but there's not just this like main antagonist running around.
Gotcha. So a lot of toadies, as they call them.
Yeah.
So there was one kid that picked on me one time in 6th grade. I remember we didn't really get into a fight, but he did punch me. And
thanks.
No big deal. And so I remember like I got knocked back and I like got back up and then the bell rang and then like that was it. Like nothing ever happened after that.
No like
and
confrontation afterwards.
No, and I don't even remember really seeing him much afterwards. So I don't know if he got in a fight with like someone else or what. But I do remember that fight. And it was the kid. Okay, the crazy thing was like the kid was actually like shorter than me and like scrawnier than me. And I think he was just trying to like. I don't know why me. There's like if you're gonna pick on someone that's like I'm come on, you guys know me. I'm Mr. Comic Book Geek nerd guy. I'm not like a tough guy that you pick on. But
I don't know. Maybe he thought you were.
Oh, that's kind of cool. I doubt it.
Change your whole perspective of how that fight went down.
Wow, man. So when I got back up, no.
That's why I never saw him again.
Picture like in slow motion, Jerry getting back up. I love it.
That's great. I know this isn't a visual medium, but I'll do my best. So I liked when they kept like cutting between the bully like chasing them and them like running back and forth and that kind of thing. I really enjoyed that. That was another.
Well, it
one
was
of,
interesting. Like they used it as a way to show time. Like the beginning of the day was in running one direction, and then the end of the day was in running the other direction. It was kind of like a way of progressing the storyline without having to say like, okay, now they're going home from school.
Yeah,
which is kind of interesting.
So that reminds me. Did y'all ever watch House? The show House? Yeah.
No.
Okay. So there's this one part where they were walking, and I don't remember the episode right now, but they're walking, and essentially he mentions that if you just walk and talk at the same time, you give like the illusion of like things progressing, even though nothing's really happening except like dialogue. And so it's almost like the opposite of that. It's like they actually show things progressing without the dialogue.
Yeah.
But it really worked as like a good seg. It was like a way from one vignette to another.
Yeah.
True.
And so I really thought that was clever about the film as well.
We were reading some trivia about the movie, just after we watched it last time. In the end credits, I remember seeing two characters. One was Flash Gordon and one was Ming the Merciless. Apparently there's like a scene that got cut where Ralphie, like one of his visionary imaginations he was having, is he joined forces with Flash Gordon with his Red Ryder BB gun to fight off Ming the Merciless. That's so cool. Weird, like, because it wasn't even in the movie, but it was still in the end credits.
They kept it in the credits. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You don't really see that.
I don't know.
That'd be cool if
I'm
that
sure
scene is out there.
I bet it's on a DVD or something.
Yeah,
it's probably like a special feature on the DVD. It's funny because now, having watched it and being older, I think I might actually buy this movie now.
Yeah.
I don't own it, and now I might. So I don't know, but yeah, I liked all Ralphie's imaginations, like when he's the the cowboy with Old Blue and what's the name
Black
of the
Bart?
Black Bart. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just getting rid of him, and I love how they got the old timey prison stripes. The crooks outfits. Yeah.
Yes.
So that one, and then when he goes blind from like the soap poisoning.
Oh yeah, soap poisoning. That was the best.
I remember having I will admit I had that happen to me. Not the blind part, the soap. Having to have my mouth washed out with soap.
Oh, no.
I've matured beyond it, but
yeah. No, that one never happened to me, but I know it did happen to my brother. I know he got, and I think it was just like an ivory soap. So
Yuck.
Yeah, it's very gross thinking about it. But I like in the movie how the mom tries it afterwards.
Oh yeah.
She was just curious,
and then she like spits it out.
Yeah,
that was cool. So there was that one, and then you talked about the witch.
Yeah.
That was another one. Or when he writes his essay, and it's like the best. She's like, "Oh, if I have to read another one of these failing papers," and then his was like the best.
Yeah.
Oh, those are so
funny
great.
Thing about the teacher, real quick. I saw again in some of the stuff we were reading. She was actually pregnant, in like the actress was.
Uh-huh.
And so because of like the time period, I don't know if it was like because they didn't want it to portray like in case people thought she was an unwed mother because the husband in the film. Mm-hmm. They just gave her extra padding under all her clothes, so she looked heavier just overall than she actually was.
That's crazy.
Because she was pregnant.
I wonder why they didn't just cast somebody different for that role.
Maybe it was their budget. I don't know.
It could be, or if you got it, you got it. And
sure.
With chemistry and all that, you just sometimes it just works,
The right one for the role.
Did you ever get your tongue stuck to a frozen pole?
No. I did not.
I didn't.
I was scared to do it after.
Me too. After I saw this movie,
I didn't want to test it. Plus, down in Texas, we only have 5 chances a year to.
That's true.
Test it out anyway.
If even.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, and I'm from South Texas, so there was all growing up, I think in high school we had like snow flurries once.
Yeah.
That's about it. And it like quickly was gone in like 10 minutes. So
Yeah.
I remember because we were in band class and everyone was like, it's snowing. And we ran outside and you just see the little flurries.
Like
And
the most underwhelming thing ever.
exactly. So after that, I'm like, oh, that's snow. Okay, that's it.
In Texas, it's all the ice, and nobody knows how to drive on
And nobody
the ice.
knows how to drive. Yeah. Yeah. Everything like shuts down immediately.
Yes.
Speaking of ice, I mean, I was scared as well, licking a pole and getting my tongue stuck, even though, same thing was like maybe 50 degrees. I mean, there's no way it would have stuck. but it was cold. So obviously we were going to get stuck and we didn't know any better. So
Yeah.
Oh goodness. Another one of the vignettes is the old man fighting with the furnace.
Yeah.
That's another one of those, and you just see the black smoke coming out, and his incessant, his nice
language,
aim, expletives,
yeah,
nonsensical words. And I mean, I don't think we ever had a problem like that. I don't recall, even when something was broken. I remember my dad going to like the library and renting a book on like how to fix something like a washing machine, but I don't recall any expletives being yelled out incessantly like that.
Yeah, my dad wasn't that. He was just kind of a quiet tinkerer if he was working on something. So
yeah, cool. What about you, Kristin?
Yeah, my dad was pretty handy, but I don't recall anything like that either.
No major battles.
No expletives. No.
Okay. No waging war. Yeah, I gotcha. No. And then, of course, the other major thing is the leg lamp.
Yes, that's my favorite.
Yeah.
And I just love how the mom is like, can we talk about this? And
he's just so unaware of, the inappropriateness of it.
Yeah. Oh, he's just so excited. It's a major award,
My favorite line too is when he said "fragile." It must be Italian.
And one thing, because that's another one of those lines that's like a classic line. Everybody knows, and yet I never noticed how the mom actually does correct him and say, "I think that says fragile." He's like, "Oh yeah." That totally passed me by. I don't remember that. It
just stuck as fragile.
Yeah, exactly. It must be Italian. So we were talking about like, how did he win this award? And I think it does go back to the beginning of the movie when he was doing like one of those trivia kind of games, like a mail-in trivia thing. And he was asking, what's the name of the Lone Ranger's nephew's horse?
Yeah.
And then she says Victor. And of course he's like, how do you know that? And, all that little exchange there. And I think it's implied that that's how he won. Like, it's never really stated explicitly.
It wasn't very clear, but yeah, I would guess that's probably it.
I didn't catch it. My assumption was just that it was like a publisher clearinghouse type, contest. Yeah. But that makes sense, Jerry. That makes
I think so. No. Yeah, I know what you mean. And I think it was just, he entered one of these things and from the way it sounds, it seems like he's been entering a bunch of them,
right?
Because it's like
so proud that he won.
Yeah, exactly. And he's like, it could be $50,000. It could be a bowling alley, and all sorts of
bowling alley.
How are they going to deliver a bowling alley?
It could be the deed or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh man, he's so excited about the lamp. Like and of course the boys are just, Ralphie's just there like trying to touch it the whole time. And
oh yeah. That's another thing that completely passed over me as a child.
Yeah. It's like, hey, that's a funny leg lamp, but yeah, it's a bit more risque than, and you know what, that could be another reason why my mom didn't like it. I really grew up with it.
She related. Boy, I would be so mad at you, Josh.
I think I would understand. Like, hey, this is probably not a good idea.
Inappropriate.
Yeah.
Okay, we do have one at the store. It's just a lot smaller.
It's a little one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, a buddy of mine, he's a host of another Christmas podcast, and he actually got one for Christmas like last year, I think it was. And so he was like showing it off on his, on their page and everything, and everyone's like, I want it. And
that's great.
I gotta say, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I feel like the leg lamp is just an iconic, like you see that, and it even if you're not familiar with the Christmas story, like that's something from a like classic Christmas movie that's been around forever.
Yeah, it's kind of like in Christmas Vacation, the lights, when they finally turn on.
Yes.
Yeah.
And of course, I mean, if he should just use LED, but but I mean, it's another one of those things. Like you're right. It's such an iconic moment. There's a leg lamp, the Griswold house, the Grinch, with his heart growing. I mean, just all these like classic depictions that from all these movies and cartoons and specials that it's like you always remember, like the Charlie Brown tree kind of a thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I agree. Yeah, you're like 1,000,000% correct there. Yeah. Sorry, I had to drink my honey lemon tea here.
That sounds good. I like your mug.
It's festive mug there.
Oh yeah, well yeah. I always got to have one of my Christmas mugs when I record.
Perfect.
Yeah. So and I in fact, there's a couple at the store that I saw that I'm going to have to pick up. Yeah, for sure. But got some good stuff there. Is there anything before we keep going, because I've just been saying this and this and this, is there anything that really sticks out to you besides, like, of course, the iconic leg lamp? Is there anything that really...
Well, the bunny suit, I know we just briefly touched on it, but that's another one to me that's just very iconic. And it's so relatable too. Like, you open that gift from an aunt and it's nothing like what you want, and then you're forced to wear it.
Yes. Yeah, usually it was like some sort of sweater or jacket or something like that, and you're like, okay, I guess.
Mine was always. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I may or may not be imitating that part later.
Oh, I can't wait to see that.
But what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say mine was always jewelry. That was just not a style that I would choose to wear.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, the sweater, I mean, that's also relatable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I remember because for Christmas it's always about the toys, when you're little.
Yes.
And I love how when they open in their socks, and they just kind of throw them over their shoulder.
Over the side, yeah.
And that's kind of, I mean, we wouldn't throw them over our shoulder, but I remember you'd get the box, and it was always like a rectangular box, maybe about 2 inches thick or so, and about a foot wide, and like you knew it was going to be a white box as soon as you tore open the wrapping paper, and it was, and then you'd open that and you knew it was going to be some sort of clothes, and it usually was. And so when I saw them get the socks, that like really hit home for me.
Now tell me I'm not the only one. Did either of you ever like position your gifts? Like you could tell there was something really good in like that box. And so you would open that one first, and then the socks or the white box ones, you'd kind of leave till the end.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, so we usually, our mom or our dad would pass out the gifts to us. And but same thing. Once we had our pile, we would kind of,
scope it out.
Try to wait that, that was the one we'd kind of save for later.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Little Orphan Annie was another thing that I completely had forgotten about. And, but you mentioned it. Yeah. The Ovaltine. And I mean, like so many of these little things that it makes me wonder if like I ever really saw it all the way through growing up, because I don't remember most of this, which is so crazy.
I do remember, and I can appreciate even as an adult now that he was like just totally deflated when he actually decoded the code.
Yes.
He was like, don't forget to drink your Ovaltine. He's like, this is supposed to be like Little Orphan Annie, like a detective.
What the heck?
He's like, it's just an advertisement.
It's a letdown.
He was like discovering that his like fantasy world was really just a marketing scheme.
I know. And you can see, because remember, he's like furiously trying to figure it out. And he's like, I could save the world here. It depends on me.
Yeah.
And oh man. So you were deflated by something as well? You were like,
well, I mean, just kind of, seeing that some things that you thought were like, oh, like that's gonna be so awesome, and then it happens, and you're like, oh, not so much,
Yeah, usually when you like find the the prize in like a Cracker Jack box or something. And
Yeah.
I mean, I know I'm older than you guys, so I don't know if you remember Cracker Jack
Oh
boxes.
yeah,
but-
Cracker
Yes,
Jack.
we remember Cracker
okay.
Jacks.
Okay, because I was talking with a friend of mine, and I was mentioning Cracker Jack, and he was like, "What are you talking about?" And it just made me feel really old at that point. So
No,
I'm glad
I
I'm
love
Oh, we had
them.
Cracker Jack.
okay. I know one thing that I've been meaning to bring up, and I keep forgetting the Santa Claus that he goes to see.
Oh,
Oh, don't
man.
get Josh started on
I
that.
may or may not be imitating that one.
Nice.
No,
So it's-
like, go ahead.
Okay. No, I was just gonna say, so this whole time he's like trying to come up with ways to like, convince his mom that he wants this BB gun and to let him, and she said that you'll shoot your eye out thing, which he's trying to overcome, And so finally he has like this out, Santa Claus, the big guy. And then he goes, and like that whole setup was just like crazy. The elves were like the rudest, worst elves like ever.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're dragging kids, and then they like just furiously turn
Toss
them
them down
around.
the
Yeah. Oh, it's just
slide.
bad. And it's oh man, it always got me when he would like push his boot down on his face.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
Well, like it struck me when they go into the mall, the
Mhm.
parents are like, "Okay, kids, go get in line. We'll see you later." And then they go up, and I'm like, "Whoa, I would
mentioned
not
that-
do that."
Yeah, I mentioned
Like,
that to my wife too.
nowadays.
That's a totally different time.
Oh,
'Cause,
yeah.
yeah, nowadays that's like not done at all.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is like the mall closed at 9, so the kids were out there just waiting in line all that time, and the parents were
Yeah.
out shopping. I mean, it had to be quite a while,
Oh yeah.
because it was
But I
a
have
long
to
line.
say,
Yeah,
as a
line.
parent, like that would be kind of nice. Just drop them off and then get all your Christmas shopping done.
That's true.
For real, yeah. But I mean, that whole sequence, I mean, as cool as like that slide was, because I would have wanted to slide down a slide after seeing
Oh,
Santa, but just the elves were like, "Come on, kid," and just they grab him by the arm and just like yank him, and oh man, I mean, it was bad.
It was.
Yeah.
And they were already
That
like
would've-
super dizzy from because I mean the camera even like follows Ralphie's essentially what Ralphie's experiencing, and so they kind of flip him around real fast and then put him on the lap, so he's already kind of dizzy, so everything's just kind of out of focus, and then of course Santa's like, "All right, what do you want, kid?" And so he froze like all the other kids were, or just they would just bust out screaming. I mean, it's a scary Santa there.
It is. Yeah.
I'm sure.
It's not like the Santa you see in the other classic Christmas movie, like
No.
or the depiction of like when you think about him at Christmas, like the jolly, kind-hearted, laughing and his belly jiggles kind of guy.
Yeah,
It's like a rude imposter.
it's like bad Santa or something.
Yeah.
It would make me question everything I knew about Santa.
Yeah, he's definitely not the same guy that the same Santa that comes into our store. That guy's always I like that Santa. He's nice.
Did you
Yeah.
ever see, Jerry? There's been a few Santa conventions that have come into Decorator's Warehouse,
Yes.
and they kind of like convene in the pie shop, and
Yeah.
there was one in overalls this year.
Yep.
Just
remember
love that.
Yeah. I actually sold some lights to a Mrs.
Oh, yeah.
Claus.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. She bought some cluster lights, and I think it was maybe diamond. No, I don't remember. It was cluster lights and something else. And of course, we only had like red and green left, I think, at that point. And but they were apparently doing like a red and green kind of theme that year.
Oh,
Perfect.
there you
Yeah,
go.
so it worked out. It worked out for them.
Sounds
but-
fitting.
Which I got to say, by the way, so I've been on my page, I've been putting up pictures of the trees that I've been doing. And so far, everybody is loving like the cluster light 5mm combos. So
Yeah, I think
Nice.
it's a
Good
great
call there.
combo.
Yeah, it looks really good.
So you guys, good job with telling me to do those.
Well, it helps when we have an expert Christmas tree lighter.
I mean, that was the only thing you hadn't done yet. You did all the wreaths and garlands
It's true,
through
yeah.
pro lights. So I mean, the logical next step is trees.
I guess so, yeah. Yeah. Oh, which reminds me, when they go to pick out their tree, does that when the old man is like bargaining, does that kind of remind you of your dad? Does that kind of hit home?
Oh yeah. I
Always
mean,
wants a deal.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I could see my dad doing that,
Yes.
and I don't think my dad would be as successful as probably your dad, but but I could definitely see my dad trying.
But you can appreciate the effort.
Oh yeah, exactly. And he's just, we should get one of those plastic trees and
plastic trees.
Well, they probably didn't have the same quality trees in 1940.
Well, yeah. Yeah, they're definitely not Newman trees or anything.
No.
But did y'all ever get real trees growing up?
Actually, all I had growing up was real trees.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. We had them for a while, and then my brother had like really bad asthma, and so they would like kind of react with his, I don't know, just kind of make him go into some sort of reaction. And so eventually we just started going to the fake trees, and so that's what we've been doing ever since. But I do remember there was like a certain nice aroma that a real tree has, and just like a whole different feel. But I also remember putting the lights on was like a crazy pain.
Yeah, no, it was a crazy pain. And you always had needles all over.
You always had needles all over the place.
That was one of my tasks as a kid. Was I had to clean up the needles.
To clean up the needles, yeah.
So
the only other thing was I remember lots and lots of tinsel. You just put tinsel like all over the tree. Yeah, you'd have that garland that was oh man, I don't even know what it's called, but it's just like the red kind of fuzzy red garland, and then just lots of tinsel, and then of course your ornaments. And I think I showed you a picture of it today, Kristin.
Oh, I loved it.
You and Pat, yeah.
Yep.
Oh man, and for you guys, I'll probably put that picture up online as well on our webpage. So feel free to check us out. But you can see little Jerry with the Christmas tree. But yeah, that's a great scene. He's haggling, and it seems like a really, maybe not 1940s, but like a real Oldsmobile salesman kind of thing. They're saying some dads are Protestant, some dads are Catholic, and some dads were Oldsmobile salesmen or something like that.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was also a nice touch, and it really kind of tied, the character of the dad together.
Oh yeah. Kind of completed the whole between the furnace stuff and the interaction with the kids and then the negotiating. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. And then the best part was on Christmas morning, and Ralphie's gone through like all his presents. And then, his dad's like, "Did you get everything you want?" And, he's like, "Almost." And he's like, "Wait, I think I see one more present there," and then it just, he ended up getting it for him. And of course the mom was like, "All right, whatever,"
Yeah.
Shucks,
Which, is funny. He asked, his mom, he asked his teacher, he asked Santa. He never asked his dad.
He never asked his dad. Yeah.
But his dad was the one who ended up getting it for him.
Like he just, I guess he knew that that's what he wanted.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just a great like father-son kind of thing. And so when I saw that, because especially after having kids now, I'm kind of like a big blubbery mess sometimes with things like that. So when that came on, I was like, "Oh, it got me," it just, it was one of those like, "Oh shucks. Okay. Yeah. That's totally something I do for my kids,"
Yeah.
And it's like, "Oh, are you sure you didn't get everything? Maybe go check right there."
Yeah.
But it's such a great moment. And then of course it leads to him going outside and shooting himself and, and the lie that he gets away with. But, but I do have to ask you guys, what do you think is what I would say your happiest moment with this film? If you had to pinpoint one, and if you can't, then, maybe just in general.
I don't know that I had any like very specific memories, but it was just that whole time frame of like, every year it just felt so, nostalgic, and I don't know, it wouldn't be Christmas if we didn't watch A Christmas Story. So I just think, the happiness of the joy of childhood and Christmas, and that's kind of what it symbolizes for me.
See, the first time, my favorite memory with this movie is the first time I saw it, because it wasn't with my family. Like we actually watched it in school.
Oh, wow.
And we had to have our parents sign a release form. They would be okay with us watching this film. And, like, even looking back, I'm like, man, that kind of had a lot of language for like third grade.
Yeah, only I didn't say fudge.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, that's my best memory of remembering like my parents like signing that release form. So I was like being allowed to watch this iconic, like it was supposed to be an iconic Christmas movie. And then just like even now looking back, like when I think about that movie, then I think about being in third grade and think about being a kid and Christmas as a kid and just all the memories that come with that. So
that's awesome.
A few years ago, they actually had A Christmas Story come to Dallas Fair Park as a musical, like a theater production. Yeah. And so we went to that, and it was pretty interesting. I mean, it was a great depiction of the movie, very accurate.
True to the original.
And then I think they did a television special based on the musical, which is
that'd
based
be
on
fun
the
to watch.
Yeah. So there's it's like this whole cycle, but yeah, this was like a sleeper hit in 1983. Yeah. And it wasn't until they started playing it, like TNT, or Ted Turner, Time Warner, and all that. He bought the rights to the catalog when he got that company, and so they started playing it on TNT, and they started, viewership started going up. So then they started playing it more, and then of course TNT went kind of serious, so they moved it over to TBS, and they just noticed that like millions of people were tuning in. So then they started playing it more and more. And then in 97, they started that 24 hours of A Christmas Story. And that's like that whole, that marathon. And that's like, it's like a tradition now, people, someone from our store was telling me, and I won't say who, but the person was telling me that she puts it on and like will fall asleep to it, and Christmas Eve, that's like she'll just let it run, play all day. And I thought that's awesome. That's kind of really cool. That's how much this movie really means to people. For me, because we really didn't watch it growing up, I remember though the commercials for when it was going to show on TV, and it was always that "You'll shoot your eye out, kid." It was a Santa, and he would, when he was, kicking him down the slide. So that part always sticks out to me. So when I saw it again right now, like that brought me back to when I was a kid, and the commercials were coming on, and so of course then same thing. I thought about all that. Oh yeah, I'd watch the commercial for that, and then there'd be commercials for the other specials like Rudolph and Frosty and all that, and just I got all the warm fuzzies and all that stuff. So or the Christmas.
Well, that's what a good Christmas movie is supposed to do.
Exactly. Yes, I completely agree. So now we come to my favorite part of the show, which is called Gag Me with the Spoon. So this is the segment where we do our best impression of our least favorite part of the movie. So as our guests, I'll let you go first and just kind of set up the scene and you'll take it away. And then in the end, the viewers will vote on who had the best, worst impression, or not viewers, the listeners. And the winner will get a totally rad Christmas sticker, unless I win, in which I get a big fat nothing. So
nice.
Well, this is embarrassing.
No worries.
And you can see us, so I'm going to turn the other way. So we did not actually talk about this at all, but my least favorite, it just makes me cringe, and maybe makes Josh cringe even more, is the scene with the mashed potatoes.
Oh. Yeah, I know.
And the mom is trying to get, what's the brother's name?
Randy.
That's right. Yeah. Randy to eat his mashed potatoes, and he just, will not do it. And so she challenges him to eat them like a pig. And, of course he's getting in there and making pig noises, and the old man is just, grossed out. So I really don't want to do an impression of it, but I guess I have to.
It's all in good fun. Here, I'll close my eyes if it'll make you feel better.
Okay. So,
oh man, it's so funny because right before, the mom kind of takes over, the old man's like, I'll, just shove it right down his mouth. And, there's so many times, and I love my children with all my heart, but sometimes when they don't eat, I feel the same way. And so
I know. It's like, come on.
3 bites.
If you spend as much energy eating as you did arguing, you'd be done.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, tonight, I brought some fried chicken on the way home. And my son, he ate like all the, the crispies, the crispy skin. And he didn't want to eat like the actual chicken. And
Oh gosh.
we got him a swing set that I'm supposed to put up tomorrow. And so it was like, well, if you don't take at least one bite of the chicken, I'm not putting up your swing set. And so
bribe him.
He finally at least took a bite. But boy, it's like a never ending battle. Oh, but that was great. And what about you, Josh?
So my least favorite part of the movie that I don't know, kind of similar to how like he was let down by like the Ovaltine just being a marketing. For me as a kid, when I watched it and I saw the Santa, I was like, golly, like that is not the Santa that I think about.
No, definitely not.
So yeah, they're just like the Santa and the elves, like as a collective entity, are just we're so much like of a balloon pop of like this was this vision I had, and then it just burst and it shattered into pieces. But yeah, so they're waiting in line and they're getting up near the top, and then it cuts to Santa and he's talking to the elf and he's like, if he thinks I'm staying past 9 o'clock, he can kiss my foot. And I'm like,
my foot.
Yeah.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, that's what he said.
I don't know. I heard it in the movie. I've never heard it anywhere else.
Yeah.
Kiss my foot. Guess they had
and then just the elves like, come on, kid. And then they're putting him on his lap. And what do you want? Come on, there's other kids waiting. And Santa's like, okay, kid, what do you want? He can't say anything. He's like, you want a football? And I don't know. It's just like that Santa bothers me because it makes me like not want Santa to come to my house.
Right? Yes, exactly.
Too. Like the Santa really bothered Josh. Like he was talking about the Santa for a long time after the movie.
Yeah, it's a pretty creepy depiction there.
Yeah.
That guy. So for me, I love that bunny suit scene, but the one line that always got me was when the old man just looking at him, and for some reason this dialogue, I don't know what it is about this line. It's a funny line, but for some reason it makes me cringe. So he's looking at Ralphie and coming down in the pink bunny suit, and he goes, "He looks like a deranged Easter bunny." So it's terrible. It's terrible, but I'm going to leave it to you listeners to vote for us. Is it Kristin as the mom doing the pig sounds? Is it Josh as the deranged Santa? Or is it me as the old man? And I'll put that up and you guys can vote on that. And the winner, yes, will get a Totally Rad Christmas sticker. So, so now I got to ask, G.I. Joe, they taught us that knowing is half the battle. What do you guys think is the other half?
Well, I don't know if it's cliche, but I would say knowing is half the battle and doing is the other half.
All right. Yeah, that's good.
And I even think like there's some biblical concept to that. Like in James, where you're not just a hearer of the word, but you're to go out and to be a doer too. And so I think,
nice.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that.
Wow, that's like way better than mine. So, so if knowing is half the battle, then the other half is don't wear anything from your aunt that your mom says is cute.
Oh,
nice.
Oh, I feel like we missed that. I mean, I feel like we.
Yeah, ours wasn't really in line with the rest of the whole podcast. We probably should have thought that.
Oh, no worries. No, I've gotten everything there. But for now, let's head on over to our Chatting with the Littles segment. Hi, we're back with Chatting with the Littles, and I'm here with little number 1, my 8-year-old daughter. How are you doing?
Good.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you remember something that you really, really wanted for Christmas that you ended up getting?
Yes. My Baymax and Hero toy.
Baymax and Hero, what's that from?
Big Hero 6.
Oh, I see. And what do they do?
Hero made a suit for Baymax.
Oh, yeah?
Uh-huh. And the suit gave him abilities to fly and to shoot his fist.
Oh, I see.
And he can talk to my toy.
And that's it? You're playing with that right there? That's what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I heard that. What else does he do? Oh, I see.
Hello, I am Baymax. I am now capable of defending innocence and other heroic deeds.
Cool.
That's my toy. And then when I have a hero that you push and then you push something on top of Baymax and it makes noises like he's flying.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Landing.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And that's what you really wanted for Christmas one year?
Yeah, that's what I wanted for Christmas last year.
Oh, I see. What about this year? Is there anything you really want for Christmas this year so far?
Well, I don't really know because there's lots of different things.
Uh-huh. Well, that's
I
okay.
want High School Musical toys too.
Oh, I see.
And I also like other things, so I don't really know.
Well, that's okay. I think on that note, though, we're going to go back to our
regular schedule.
So, Josh, Kristin, what do you want to plug? Anything in particular? Or why don't you tell us about Decorator's Warehouse?
Yeah. So Decorator's Warehouse is the company that my parents started. It's one of the largest Christmas stores probably in the country. I think it's the second largest behind Bronner's in Michigan. But it actually started in their garage.
Wow.
This was 31 years ago. And they were selling, it didn't start as a Christmas store at all. It started by selling ficus trees. And, eventually they moved into a warehouse location. And I mean, it was a very stereotypical warehouse and no air condition. We had kerosene heaters in the winter. And,
oh, wow.
It was a lot of everyday decor. And then eventually, we just transitioned into all Christmas all the time. And it's just grown and it's been really cool to see its growth and just we have great customers and we have the Pro Lights division now, which Jerry is a part of, which we appreciate so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been really fun.
Yeah. It's just for a lot of people that come in, even not just employees, or not just customers, but employees too. It's like their happy place,
Yeah.
Well, it's just somewhere to come in and you think about Christmas. And when you think about Christmas, a lot of times you think about family and gathering and just the joy of the season. And even though most of the year it's not Christmas, if you come inside the store, it is.
It is.
You just kind of transported into that mindset.
It's funny that you mentioned that because before I started working there, I remember if I was just having a bad day, I would drop by the store and I would just walk around and,
Awesome.
It would make me feel better. And I remember walking through, the trees, what we called trees, but, at the time I called it the Christmas tree forest, and I would just kind of
your name
and kind of just walk through the Christmas tree forest and I would instantly feel better, It's a great place. And I hear, and maybe you guys can shed some light on this, but I hear we're even doing maybe an online presence.
Yes, and that is
that's the next
step for Decorator's Warehouse. So
right.
Very exciting. We've had a lot of requests for a lot of time, and we just felt like it was kind of time to branch into that space.
Yep.
Right on. What kind of things will be online?
Everything.
Nice.
We'll have whole
Christmas related.
In the store we do the theme areas with themed trees, and so we'll have whole themed trees online where you can buy everything to decorate, your tree with what you see in the video or the picture. So,
that's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And I'll be posting a link to that as well when this episode drops.
Yeah, that'd be great. We appreciate it.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Thanks, Jerry.
So, guys, it's been fun talking with you. And I want to thank you so much. Any final thoughts?
Well, we definitely appreciate you having us on, and this was our first podcast, but we had a lot of fun too.
Check that off the list now.
So thank you.
It was good. I had a lot of fun. Yeah, it was fun talking with you guys. So in the meantime, I'm going to end by saying, did you get everything you wanted? Well, almost. Almost, huh? Well, that's life. Well, there's always next Christmas. Or You can check us out on our social media pages, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you're feeling as brave as Ralphie, leave us a review on iTunes. Not only does it help us reach more people, but it's also one way to get your name entered into our first rad contest for a chance to win some cool swag from Decorator's Warehouse. You also get a free sticker. Don't forget to vote, guys. Later, dudes. What did you want to say?
It's challenge time.
Oh, yeah? What's the challenge?
To make your own Christmas story.
To make your own Christmas story?
Yes.
That sounds really, really cool. Maybe they can write about something, or...
I would want to write about Troy Bolton from High School Musical having a little Christmas party with Gabrielle and all their friends.
That sounds wonderful. All right, you heard it here. Write down a great Christmas story of your own doing. Or you can act it out or video it or whatever you want to do, right?
Or you can use one of your favorite characters like mine, Troy Bolton and Gabriella Montez from High School Musical.
Or you could do that. And on that note, we'll end it.
Hello, I am Baymax.
Bye. Later, dudes.